Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of 2/3 of Or Zimra, Marcia Siegel, Norm Strassner, and Noah Young, my name is David Price, and I'd like to welcome you to Shabbat services this evening. How cool is this? And I don't mean the weather outside. We're inside tonight because the weather is not cool outside, but for me, this is the first time back in the sanctuary since March of last year. And so for many of you sort of nodded a little bit as I said that, and it's quite the experience. When we came in to rehearse earlier, just to sort of be in the sanctuary, it was a nice relief, actually, to be here indoors as a community. And as a community, I really want to appreciate everybody heeding the advice to please wear a mask. There are things about services indoors that are a little more touchy with the pandemic, even in its current state. So we appreciate your forbearance in doing some of these extra steps so we can get together as a community and protect and make everybody feel as comfortable as we can during these trying times. We begin tonight with Oziv Zimrat Yah, and as if life isn't confusing enough, that is on the back cover of your prayer book program for the evening. And what we will be doing is, we as a band will be leading services. Marcia will be doing what Holly usually does. I will be doing a poor imitation of what Fred usually does. But we will work through this together as a community. And again, it's great to see you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'd like to invite up for candle lighting and Kiddush, Harriet Edelstein, Ken Suslak, and Ewan. This just means that our ventilation system is working.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shavat kodsho, v'ahava uratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom. So in our pageless, our page numberless prayer book, Lecha Dodi is on the next page, which depending on how you count it is 1, 2, 3, page 4.
Shabbat, Kabbalah, Lecha Dodi, Lekrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalah,
Kadodi,
Kat Kala,
Rat Kala,
B'nai Shabbat,
B'nai Shabbat,
Kabila,
Kabila,
Chadodi,
Kadodi,
Kat Kala,
Rat Kala,
B'nai Shabbat,
B'nai Shabbat,
Kabila,
Kabila,
Kadodi,
Kadodi,
Katkala,
Rat Kala,
B'nai Shabbat,
B'nai Shabbat,
Kabila,
Kabila,
Kadodi,
Kadodi,
Katkala,
Rat Kala,
B'nai Shabbat,
B'nai Shabbat,
Kabila,
Kabila,
Vitoreri, Vitoreri, Kiva Ore, Kuri Ore, Uri, Uri, Shir Daberi, Kod Adonai Elayich Nigla, L'chadodi, Katkala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila, L'chadodi, Katkala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila, L'chadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila, L'chadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila.
Please hide.
Roi v'shalom, ha'terefala, gam besimcha u'b'tzola. Tov emunei, ha'am segula, roi hala, l'chadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila, L'chadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila. Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei HaShalom. Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei HaShalom. L'chadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila, L'chadodi, Likrat Kala, B'nai Shabbat, Kabila. Yikadal ve'yikadash Shemei Rabbah
Amen.
Be'alma dira chirute Be'amlich malchute B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, Nizman Kariv, Veimeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach, Le'alam ulal me'amaya, Yitzbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitzpar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitzaleh, V'yithalal, Shomei Dekudisha, Rechu, Leila min kol birchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechemata, Damiran Be'ama, V'yimeru, Amen. Baruchu et Adonai
Ahavat Olam is on the next page. Shema is on the following page. Please rise if you are able. Please be seated. From bondage into Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Micha Mocha.
Adonai,
turn the page. Hashkivenu, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, Hamidenu Shomreinu, L'chaim, L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, Hamidenu Shomreinu, L'chaim, L'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha, v'tachneinu b'etzat Torah milfanecha, v'hoshienu leman shemecha. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, Hamidenu Shomreinu, L'chaim, L'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha, v'tachmeinu b'etzat Torah milfanecha, v'hoshienu leman shemecha.
We've come to the point in the service where we're about to enter the Amidah. As is our minhag, our custom, we begin with a nigun, and we invite you to join in the nigun with us, and when you are feeling inspired or otherwise ready, please rise.
Adonai Sfatai Tivta. Adonai Sfatai Tivta. Ufi Ha'ir Tehilatecha. Ufi Ha'ir Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tivta. Adonai Sfatai Tivta. Ufi Ha'ir Tehilatecha. Ufi Ha'ir Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tivta. Adonai Sfatai Tivta. Ufi Ha'ir Tehilatecha. Ufi Ha'ir Tehilatecha.
Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Me'asadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'ima'ot, U'mevivu la Lifnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo V'yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Atah Rav L'Choshiach. Oyel Hayim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim Verofeh Holim. Umatir Asurim, Umkayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mika Mocha Ba'agivurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Meimid, Umakayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ne'emanata v'hayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mahayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim v'hol yom nachalucha sela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. On the next page, Shalom Rav, a prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Chatasim Le'olam.
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav Yisrael, Chatasim Le'olam. Ki atahu melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon, lechol hashalom.
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rabba Yisrael, Chatasim Le'olam.
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rabba Yisrael, Chatasim Le'olam. Tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. V'kol eitu v'kol shah b'shlomecha.
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rabba Yisrael, Chatasim Le'olam.
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav,
Yisrael,
Chatasim Le'olam.
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav,
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Yisrael, Chatasim Le'olam. I invite you to take a few minutes for your own thoughts.
Oseh Shalom,
Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom Yirov. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom Yirov. Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Oseh Shalom,
Oseh Shalom,
Oseh Shalom,
Oseh shalom Yirov. Amen.
Misha Beirach, a prayer for healing, for ourselves, for our family, for our friends. If you would like to say the name out loud of a family or friend, or for yourself, if you're in need of a little physical, spiritual, or emotional healing, I invite you to call out their names now. May they experience a full healing soon and very soon. A prayer for healing.
dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith
perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days. Elna, Rifanala, Rifanala.
Restore strength of body.
Help clarify our minds. Refresh our tired spirits. Rejuvenate our lives. Refine our love. Refine our love. Refine our love, refine our love. Thank you for all these blessings throughout our days and nights. We celebrate the journey, this precious gift of life.
This time I'd like to invite up Jim Edelman for some words, midrash, on our parsha this week.
This thing on? Yeah, okay. I'm also really grateful to be here inside for the first time in a long time, and especially grateful for the talent and the soulfulness of Or Zimra. I was wondering if anybody else felt that way. So, Shabbat Shalom. So we had a situation in Peor, not Peoria, but Peor. And the situation was that Jewish men were having sex with Midianite women, and if that wasn't bad enough, they were also bowing down and worshiping the Midianite god, whose name was Baal of Peor. Okay? So Moses said, something has to be done about this. This is really bad. And at that very moment, a man named Zimri, not Zimra, but Zimri, a Jewish man, brought in a Midianite woman named Cosby right in front of everybody and took her into his tent. A man named Pinchas, now that was the name of the parsha last week, but his story continues this week. A man named Pinchas, who was Aaron's grandson, which made him Moses' great nephew, took a spear, followed them into the tent, and with one thrust of his spear killed them both. I'll let you draw that picture. So there are many people who celebrate Pinchas as a man of action, as a man who did something that needed to be done. There are many other people who are horrified by this and see him as a zealot, see him as a vigilante, see these extrajudicial executions as wrong. God proclaimed a pact of peace, a brit shalom with Simchas, which would suggest that maybe God approves of what Pinchas did. But on the other hand, in the word shalom, so in every Torah, there are some letters that are larger than others. There's some that are smaller. We don't have an official reason why. There's some that just have weird marks by them. The letter Vav in the word shalom, in the verse that has brit shalom, so Vav looks kind of like this, like a line. It's broken. It has a break in it, almost like an x-ray of a broken arm or a broken leg, suggesting, perhaps, that this piece was not total. It needed to knit together in some way, at least not yet. I have a theory about this, but I can't tell it to you yet. I have to tell you a couple other things first. So for now, let's put Pinchas aside. We'll come back to him later. Shortly after this incident, 3 of the tribes, technically it was 2.5, but we are going to round up for 3 for our purposes of discussion tonight. 3 of the tribes approached Moses and said, "We don't want to live in the promised land." Yes, they really said that. We don't want to live there. We would rather live here east of the Jordan because we think the land is better for our cattle. Moses was, of course, horrified by this, but they entered into negotiations and they came to an agreement. And the agreement was that these 3 tribes would provide soldiers for the conquest of the promised land. These soldiers would fight at the very front, the vanguard of all the battles. And after the conquest was complete, they would then go live east of the Jordan. So that was the deal. A few months later, Moses dies and is succeeded by Joshua. We cross over the river Jordan and we enter the promised land. And just about the first thing Joshua does is he builds a great big altar. And this altar is to be the only altar, the only place to make sacrifices. It is the precursor to the temple in Jerusalem. Also, Joshua establishes, and this is all going to come together in the end, I promise. Also, Joshua establishes what are called sanctuary cities. You may have heard this in the news over the last couple of years. Sanctuary cities, right? In the Torah, they're not quite what they're talked about in the news. In the Torah, what a sanctuary city is where someone who is accused of murder can go there and receive protection from the vengeance of the family of the people, the person that he is accused, or she, that this person is accused of murdering, okay, until they can have a trial. So all that happened. We complete the conquest of the promised land, and Joshua calls these tribes and says, "Thank you so much. You have completed your end of the bargain. You may now go live east of the Jordan in the better than promised land, at least according to you." This, of course, is a very fraught moment, right? These people are leaving us physically to live somewhere else. Are they also going to leave us spiritually? Are they going to go away? Initial reports were not good because as soon as they got to their new home, they built a great big, what do you think they built? I heard it, louder, and altar. Yeah, they built an altar. They weren't really supposed to do that. There's only supposed to be one altar. So they build this altar, and this infuriates the other tribes. And they gather together for war. Okay? They gather together for war. And Joshua, remember Joshua is leading us now, before sending this army off for battle, sends a peace delegation. The peace delegation consists of one member of each of the other tribes, so it's 9.5, so 10 of them, and one leader. And who do you think that leader is? Joshua would be a good choice, but it's not him. Could Pinchas, a man of peace, right? Who better to send as the head of a peace delegation than Pinchas? But that's who he sent. Pinchas arrives with his delegation, and together they say, look, tribes, you're making a mistake here. Don't do this. This is a mistake, a lot like the mistake at Peor, right? Reminding them that this could end in a very bad place. They say to them, perhaps this land east of the Jordan, maybe it's impure, maybe it's contaminated, and maybe it's contaminating you. So maybe you should come west of the Jordan with the rest of us in the real promised land. They give them a way out, right? They give them a way out, which they don't take, okay? The tribes reply, wait, did you think we were going to make sacrifices at this altar? No. This altar is just for show. It's kind of like a fireplace that's all bricked in and there's no chimney. We're not really going to use it. So I'm a little skeptical of this explanation. I'm skeptical because the Hebrew word for altar, mizbeach, is derived from an Arabic word that means place to slaughter animals, okay? That's what an altar is, or was, maybe not anymore. It's what an altar was. This word, mizbeach, occurs 401 times in Jewish scripture. And this is the only non-working altar in all of Jewish scripture. So, me personally, I am skeptical. Pinchas says just the opposite. Pinchas says, great. Thank you for saving Israel from the wrath of the Lord. We will leave now. They go back. The delegation returns to Joshua. They say, it's all good. It was just a misunderstanding. We've clarified it. And now we don't need to go to war. And there was no war. Look at what Pinchas has become. He's become a skilled diplomat and a peacemaker. I told you earlier I had a theory about this Vav, and I will now share it with you. I don't think that Pinchas just magically was transformed into a peacemaker. I think he learned that. He was guided there. How is he guided there? I think it's from the sanctuary cities. When Joshua, under direction from God, establishes these cities, they establish the principle that those who are accused of a crime, even a serious crime like murder, especially a serious crime, are entitled to a trial, are entitled to a fair trial. And so Pinchas and his 10 other delegation members, not quite a jury, right? 11 of them, but close. The 11 of them preside over a trial, and it's a fair trial. They give the accused the benefit of the doubt, and they declare them innocent, and because of that, they save thousands, almost surely saved thousands of lives that would have been lost in a civil war. All of those lives would have been Jewish. All lives are precious. Just pointing out that in this civil war, both sides would have been us, okay? So what I think Pinchas teaches us is that we can and must stand up for our principles. When we see injustice, when we see racism, when we see cruelty, it is our duty to stand up to it. But we can do so with love, right? We can do so not assuming, we shouldn't assume the worst about the motivations of others. We should look like Pinchas did for the goodness in others. And in that way, I think we can establish our own Brit Shalom with God. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach. We continue now with the Aleinu. Please rise.
Melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo, echad.
Please be seated. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those around us. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing. As we remember them, we meditate and mediate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. If you are here commemorating the loss of a loved one, a friend, or somebody meaningful to you, I invite you to rise now and say their name. Thank you. Thank you. In the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, we also remember Carol Abrams, mother of Joshua Putterman, and William Billy Rakusin, cousin of Joshua Putterman. And on the anniversaries of their yahrzeit, we remember Selma Schlechter, Stephen David Katinsky, Donald Garlick, Rosalind Gould, Jack Balter, Sylvia Young, Catherine Graham, Phyllis Landau, Henry Bodian, Ruth Robbins, Maxine Newman, Julia Leibovitz, Linda Hirsch, Joseph Abrams, Yvonne Levine, Bud Studna, Nancy Blackie, Sarah Eckstein, Nancy Klotz, Yaakov Zelensky, Audrey Jean Robbins, May Ablowitz Hoffman, Jack Stern, Cyril Golodner, Julian Casson, Mildred Goltz, Erna Friedman, Louis P. Singer, Mark Steinberg, Deborah Hertz Midler, Max Kassoff, Marilyn Bernstein, Martin Mermelstein, Aaron Bokian, Anna Kimmel, Fanny Newman, Francis Michelson, Goldie Wigatow, Harriet Buxbaum, Howard Krakowitz, Maurice Lefko, Molly Lorber Snyder, Saul Isaacs, Sidney Streer, and we also remember those who've lost their lives in the condominium collapse in Sunrise, Florida. We rise for Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei, ve'alnich malchutei, v'chayachon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach, la'olam olam e'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal, shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
Amen. Before we conclude, or as we conclude, a quick reminder that the weather will be a little bit more hospitable tomorrow morning. There will be Torah study in the tent outside at 9, Jim? At 9 a.m., followed by services at 10:15. We conclude our service tonight with Ein Keloheinu, which is on the second to last page of your handout.
Who's like our God? Who's like our God? No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Emalkeinu, no del Moshienu. Thanks, we give thanks to our God. Thanks, we give thanks to our God. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Blessed is our God. Blessed is our God. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.